Lay it out. What is Uber's position here?
Well, thank you, Emily. Our position here for Uber is that we have 3 individual drivers who filed a case, and in a class action, they're supposed to represent everybody else. They have to be in the same position. They have to be similarly situated. They have to have an identity of interest with the 160,000 other drivers, absent people, who they want to represent as named plaintiffs in the class action. The problem is, for them, they do not resemble those other individuals. As you mentioned at the top, we submitted 400 sworn declarations from drivers all across California, and it's really compelling. The individuals tell their own stories. One woman says she wants to be an entrepreneur mom so she can spend time with her daughter and at the same time work when she wants, drive when she wants, take time off when she wants. And that theme through these declarations, through the words of the drivers themselves, comes through over and over again. It's the independence, the autonomy. One driver says, I don't want this lawsuit to go forward. Stop it, because it will interfere with my business. So the classic class action formulation is there has to be commonality, and common issues have to predominate. Here, because it's the independence and autonomy of the drivers, that's the essence of what the drivers like about Uber, you just can't have that, and you can't have a class action, and it would be bad for many, if not most of the drivers who don't want to change the way the system operates.
Have you heard from the plaintiffs yet, Ted, in response to this latest motion?
We have not. This was our response to the class certification motion, so they will get a chance to reply. And in their opening brief, they submitted no declarations from other drivers. It's really just these 3 people, and so they haven't come close to showing that they can meet the really tough standards for class certification.
Okay, that said, David, you're the COO of Zenefits. You're also an Uber investor, but you work at a company that provides human resources software. These are drivers that are asking for a guaranteed minimum wage, compensation for their mileage, the right to pay into Social Security. Why aren't they entitled to those kind of benefits?
Well, if Uber happens to lose this lawsuit, we'll be happy to provide them with the technology to be able to provide those benefits. As a passenger, as a sort of Uber power user, and I think I'm actually like one of the 10...
I've heard you're one of the top...
I'm one of the top 10 users of Uber, I think, of all time, which is why I invested in the company. I would just say that I really don't want the service to change. I mean, I like the service the way it is. And, when I get into an Uber, it's, I know that it's the driver's car. And, these people were independent contractors before they started driving for Uber. And Uber really provides a very convenient dispatch system and a reputation system. So I understand Uber's point of view on this.
Now, Ted... this is a debate that's happening across Silicon Valley, across these sharing economy companies. 2 companies, Instacart and Shipt, have already started the process of turning their contractors into employees. And the CEO of Instacart has said, what we found is that our shoppers require training and supervision, which is how you improve the quality of the picking. You can't do that when they're independent contractors. Don't drivers need training? Don't they need supervision? Ted?
Well, I think if you look at Uber's track record and how riders love Uber, how the drivers love the independence and autonomy, the company does take measures to make sure that the drivers are providing the kind of service that the riders want. That's for sure. And as David said, it's a great experience, and that can be done through the independent contractor process. It's being done. And I go back to the point that the drivers themselves, Uber did research that really foreshadowed what the drivers said in their sworn testimony. 87% of the drivers want to be their own boss. They want to set their own schedules. They want the flexibility. And that's better for the riders, too, because that means supply and demand can match up, and you can have that magical moment where you press your button and seek a car, and boom, it's there. That's what makes it work. It's that flexibility and autonomy. And Uber's providing a terrific service through this approach that it's taking.
This debate that the Labor Commission, the California Labor Commission is having, is Uber a technology company or a transportation company? Are they just enabling this, David, or are they a transportation company?
Well, I think Uber is a marketplace, and it's a marketplace for transportation services. And so that's a question about sort of where the technology ends and the service begins. I think we see similar debates with something like Airbnb or other marketplace services. I tend to think they're technology companies. But it's possible that the law, in this area kind of has to catch up with the reality of the on-demand economy.
Ted, what's your answer to that question? Transportation company or technology company?
Uber is a technology company, and that's one of our arguments in the case. It provides an app that riders and drivers can both use. One of the drivers in his declaration said he looks at Uber like Uber is his employee because it's collecting the funds, it's matching them up with riders, it's providing the service to him. And I think, as David points out, that this is a new economy and a new approach. And so Uber's providing the technology that really allows entrepreneurship. It allows this great service for people to get rides and drivers and the like. So I think it's a technology company, and I think that the independent contractor system is really important to making it function as smoothly and wonderfully as it does.
Ted Boutros, outside counsel for Google, thanks. We'll continue to follow this story. David Sachs, you're at one of the top 10 Uber drivers?
Not drivers, passengers.
Does that come with any extra benefits?
The main benefit I get is, no extra benefits, but what the benefit I get is I get to reclaim that hour or hour and a half of time that I was spending driving, and now I can do stuff like email in the back of the car.
But they've told you that. They've told you.
Well, no, so somebody created an app, and you just log in with your Uber credentials, and it would sort of stack rank where you are, and so it's an opt-in system.